What is up, you guys? Gold Pody here today in the 2018 Mazda CX-9 per your request, courtesy of Jack G and Volvo Mazda in York, PA. So as always, let's start with pricing. And so to start, there are several different trim levels for the 2018 CX-9. First one being the Sport, that is going to start at $32,130. Then the Touring for $34,960. The Grand Touring, which is the one I am in today, that one is going to start at $40,470. And lastly, the Signature all-wheel drive for $44,315. And with the exception of that last trim level, that pricing was for the front-wheel drive version there. If you wanted to add all-wheel drive to any of those first three trim levels, simply add $1,800 to the price. But so then when it comes to power output, that is going to remain the same regardless of the trim level. Powering the 2018 CX-9 is going to be a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, putting out 250 horsepower at 5,000 RPM and 310 pound-feet of torque available at 2,000 RPM. Power is going to be sent to either front wheels or all wheels through a 6-speed automatic transmission with manual shift mode and sport mode as well. And when it comes to MPGs, that is going to come in at 22 in the city, 28 on the highway for the front wheel drive setup, and 20 in the city, 26 on the highway for the all-wheel drive. But like I said, the sport mode button is going to be located just to the left of the shifter there. That's going to adjust things like the throttle response and the shift points, holding the RPMs at a higher level, giving you more power on demand. And so I say this is as good a time as any. Let's do a quick little acceleration test, see how quickly we can get the new 2018 CX-9 here up to speed. It's not too bad. Definitely not going to have any issues with merging onto the highway or anything like that. I will say not as quick as the Hyundai Santa Fe with a 3-row setup, but definitely not all that bad. And of course, every time I mention acceleration, I also want to mention the braking, because braking is equally important. So up front, there are 12.6-inch vented discs. In the back, 12.8-inch solid rear discs. And I will say there is an electronic parking brake that comes standard for all trim levels, and new for 2018, you guys, automatic emergency braking for every single trim level, which is great. Definitely a good thing, especially being that this is more than likely a family vehicle. You want everyone to be safe at all times, of course. But so now to one of my favorite parts of every Mazda, the steering feel and ride quality, because I say it that way, the steering feel in all Mazdas is always a much heavier steering feel. Again, I'm comparing the Hyundai Santa Fe to this because they are a pretty similar price point, but as far as the steering feel goes, Mazda CX-9 wins hands down. It's just gonna definitely better point you in the direction that you want to go so much easier. So huge fan of that. And then when it comes to ride quality, this one is definitely not all that bad. Not the smoothest ride I've ever felt, but definitely not the worst either. It's definitely soaking up the bumps pretty well here. And also another thing I wanted to mention, new for 2018, G vectoring control now standard on all trims of the 2018 CX-9. That's basically what that's going to do, is when you're entering a turn, G vectoring control reduces the torque to shift the car's weight to the front tires to increase cornering capabilities, and then once the steering unwinds, the CX-9 transfers the weight back to the rear tires, adding stability. And when it comes to rear visibility, as I am backing this one up here, with that third row seats up, it is not the best, I gotta be honest, but if you put that third row down, I can imagine it is definitely not all that bad. So yeah, I guess you could say not the best, but not the worst. And one additional thing with visibility, when it comes to forward visibility, you do get a heads-up display if you go with the Grand Touring trimmer up, so that is going to be there for you to help you better keep your eyes on the road as well. But anyways, enough with the driving dynamics, you guys. Let's check out the exterior on this one. And so I first wanted to start by saying there is a new color for 2018. Really, not all that different, I guess you could say, but there is a Soul Red Crystal Metallic, which replaces the Soul Red Metallic. So throw the crystal word in there, and that's going to be the new color. And that's going to add an additional $595 if you wanted that color option. But up front, there is 8.8 inches of ground clearance up there. And to the sides, there are LED headlights with the auto on and off feature. That does come standard for every single trim level, so the headlights will turn on automatically for you when it starts to get dark out at night. Also, LED daytime running lights, also standard for all trims. And if you go with the Grand Touring, you're going to get LED fog lights up there, and the Signature trim. This is so crazy, you guys. I love this. LED grille lighting. So there's going to be accented lighting around the front grille. That is crazy. Absolutely love that feature. Reminds me of Mercedes-Benz putting their LED lighting within their front logo up there, so definitely a nice touch there. And there are black trim details up front for the Sport and the Touring, and you're going to get chrome trim details for the Grand Touring and Signature trims. But then make your way to the side. There are body-colored door handles and rear privacy glass for all trim levels. Again, for all trims, you're going to get body-colored power-adjustable side mirrors with integrated LED turn signals as well. And the Grand Touring is going to add aluminum roof rails with satin chrome finish. Also with the Grand Touring and up, you're going to get chrome trim on those side skirts as well. And by the way, since we're making our way to the bottom there, when it comes to that wheel setup, you're going to get 18 by 8 inch aluminum alloy wheels for the Sport and Touring, and 20 by 8.5 inches aluminum alloy wheels for the Grand Touring and Signature trim levels. And making your way to the back, all trim levels are going to get LED combination taillights back there, along with a rear spoiler and a rear window wiper to help get the snow off of this thing this morning. And then just below it all trim levels will get dual exhaust outlets. So as always, you guys, here is that exhaust clip. Now, since we are around back, I first did want to mention you will get a power rear liftgate if you go with the Touring trim level or up. So Touring, Grand Touring, and Signature trims are going to get that. But once opened up, cargo capacity is going to come in at 14.4 cubic feet. And with that third row folded down, that's going to bump the cubic feetness up to 38.2. And with all rows folded, 71.2 cubic feet. And I will mention in that cargo area back there, there is also underfloor storage. If you wanted to hide some valuable merch, you could put it back there. So that's there for you as well. But I'll also say there are 7 seating positions in this one. Third row legroom is going to come in at 29.7 inches. So for reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there. Second row legroom is going to come in at 39.4 inches. Again, 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had. And of course, with most 3-row SUVs these days, you do get rear ventilation for the rear passengers to make sure they're comfortable as well. And in that second row, there is a second row center folding armrest with cup holders. And if you go with the Grand Touring like I have today or Signature trims, you do get heated second row seats as well. And we have the rear sunshades as well for those rear passengers. You guys probably know if you have kids in car seats, those rear sunshades definitely help shield the sun from hitting their face. So that's pretty cool too. Then make your way to the front seats. For the Sport trim level, you get manually adjustable front seats with a cloth finish. Touring trim level and up is going to give you power adjustable front seats with a leather finish. And if you go with the Signature trim, you are going to get an Auburn Napa leather finish, so a more high-end leather. Definitely nice there. Then looking forward, there is a tilt and telescoping steering wheel. It is leather wrapped for all trim levels and a very smooth leather wrapped as well, in case you were curious. And it is going to come heated for the Grand Touring trim level and up. But so then as far as the startup goes, let me first start by showing you guys the key here. You have your Mazda logo, unlock, lock, and that button for the rear hatch at the bottom there. But it is all keyless entry for every single trim level, so simply put your foot on the brake and press the engine start button. And then once started up, the CX-9 is going to greet you with the CX-9 logo in the right gauge setup there. On the left, you're going to have your tachometer. Speedometer is going to be front and center. And all the way to the right is going to give you your outside temperature as well as your trip information and how many miles you have left until you hit empty, which is always nice. And making our way to overall interior quality, there is a sunglass holder on the roof here for every single trim level. Also for all trims, you're going to get 3-zone climate control with a pollen filter. And there is an aluminum interior trim for the Grand Touring. That is what you guys are looking at right now. Also a power sliding glass moonroof for the Grand Touring trim level and up, letting in a bunch more light if there wasn't snow covering it, of course. And for the Signature trim, you guys, you get rosewood interior trim by Japanese guitar maker Fuji Gen. But then looking at the tech, front and center, there is a 7-inch color touchscreen display for the Sport. Then there is going to be an 8-inch colored touchscreen display for the Touring trim level and up. And by the way, if you didn't want to touch that screen, there is a circular dial and buttons just behind the shifter there, so feel free to use that if you wanted to. But with either setup, you are going to get Bluetooth and audio streaming. There is also Pandora radio integration, so you can like and dislike your songs up on that screen if you wanted to. Factory navigation is going to come standard on the Grand Touring and Signature trim levels. And the question everybody asked before when I reviewed this one, unfortunately, there is still no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay quite yet, at least. Then, of course, you could also adjust your radio settings up there. And for the Sport and Touring trim levels, you're going to get a 6-speaker sound system. If you go with the Grand Touring or Signature trims, you're going to get a 12-speaker surround sound system by Bose. So let's turn on the radio, see what we got playing this morning, and test out the clarity of that one. Yes, it is very close to Christmas time right now. That's hence the reason all the snow here in Pennsylvania, but definitely a very clear sound system. Not the most bass I've ever heard, but There wasn't a whole lot of bass in that song, but definitely a very nice setup for a 3-row SUV though. Then last thing I wanted to mention on that tech display is when you do put the CX-9 in reverse, for every single trim level you will get a reverse camera letting you know who or what is behind you so you don't go running anything or anyone over, which is always going to lead me into safety. And so to start, there are front, side, and side curtain airbags. In the back there is latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for those rear car seats. Also back there are rear child door locks as well. Also standard on every single trim level is a tire pressure monitoring system. And I do want to also mention, seeing as this is a vehicle that is most likely going to haul kids around, and HTSA did give this one a good score, which is the highest score on all crash worthiness tests. So every single angle, this one scored the best as far as crash test goes. So that is definitely important as well. And again, all trim levels are going to come with that low speed automatic braking standard. Also standard though is going to be blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, and the touring trim level is going to add lane keep assist and lane departure warning. And lastly, the Grand Touring is going to add front and rear parking sensors. And so, but that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like the video and subscribe. Feel free to follow me on social media at the bottom of the screen there, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay gold. Let's do this, Mazda. Ooh, heads up display, son. Yeah. All right, let's go to the park, eh? Why do I always do that every single time? Whee! I have smoke coming out of my breath. It's cold today, guys. It's cold.